So why would you and Winston, of all the things you could write on, write a book on emotions?
Yeah.
It made me emotional just to think about it.
Yes. Had I known, who knows what I'd have done. I mean, the simple answer is Winston said, I know you're interested in emotions. You want to write a book? And, some guy on faculty 10 years before you says that, you say, sure. So that's the shortest answer. The slightly longer answer is, as I got into counseling, as I began to actually sit with people that I had never met before, who began to pour out their life stories and wrestle with extremely difficult problems and divorces and drug addictions and severe grief and complicated relationships, I was hearing emotions coming at me constantly. I was increasingly aware that emotions are, as far as I could tell at the time, and I think I would probably still say this, are the biggest driver of what brings people into a counseling room and what keeps people away from a counseling room who ought to be in a counseling room, which is everyone else. And I think it was especially anger that I was watching. And so the 2-minute version would be, I wrote a little article that was never published, thankfully. The Lord spared me, and my kind colleagues helped me see that I had more work to do. But I wrote a little article on anger, and I said, people think and people talk as if the best thing you can do when you're angry is let it out, right? I need to blow off steam. I need to get it off my chest. I need to, let it flood.
Punch a pillow.
Punch a pillow. If I can just get it out of me, then I will feel better. There'll be this relief, and I'll be less angry, and I'll be a better person for it. And what I began to realize was people did feel better right away when they sort of had the chance to let it out and be affirmed that, there were reasons that whatever. But a week later, they weren't any better. And if anything, they were actually more entrenched and more reinforced. And what I realized is we were thinking culturally of anger as something you let out to get better. And I realized it was actually more like going to the gym. You'll feel spent after a good workout in the gym, but 3 days later, your muscles are stronger. And I realized we don't have a view of the heart driving emotions. So I tried to write about anger and saying, the more you let your anger out and throw it out there, actually, the more you're reinforcing the very things in your heart that led to that anger in the first place. There has to be a different answer. It has to be a heart change, not just a spilling out anger to relieve the pressure inside. Winston was one of my readers of the article that never saw the light of day, and so he knew I had an interest, and that led us into a look at emotions more broadly than just anger.